Welcome to another edition of our bank statement show. We're super excited for all of you guys tuning in for kind of this weekly show that we started. Myself, I'm Bongo. I'm one of the hosts of the bank statement show with Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks, I see you tuning in as well. So thank you for coming in. I'll bring you on stage as well. Um, can you hear me loud and clear, Mr. Banks, on your side? Are we good to go? I want to make sure that you can be able to tune in and connect as well. Guys, we have an exciting show. I can't wait. Thank you, all of you guys, for tuning in. I see a Tete Boss. I see uh Steve. What's the name there? Let me make sure I say your name correctly before you guys kill me. Steve of God, I see you. Karina, I see you. Launcher, I see you. Capstiller, I see you. I see who else. She's no songs. Whoever you guys are, thank you guys for tuning in. A Raider, I see you. Oh, Foreseen, I see you there as well. So, guys, it's going to be just an incredible time together, and I want to make sure that everybody's there. Mr. Banks, if you can hear me, go. I want you to send a request. I saw your request. I think I approved it already. Um, Let me make sure. I'm gonna invite you to co-host as well here. So just make sure you accept that co-host so I can hear you loud and clear. But guys, it's gonna be an incredible time. I really think that we're gonna do a lot of incredible things together. And so the space today, there's so much to talk about. So much to talk about that happened in the past week or so. I think we always try to make sure that we have things that are entertaining for you guys, but also educational. One of the things that's at the heart of who we are at the Raw Banks is we believe in helping you guys learn and earn wealth and build wealth together. That's something that's really important as well. So, can you guys hear me loud and clear? I want to make sure everybody can hear me. If you can, give me thumbs up, give me some hearts, just to make sure. That there's no issues on my mic on my end. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Okay, I see a couple thumbs up over there, so you guys can hear me. Okay, cool. All right, so most of you guys can hear me loud and clear. Okay, awesome. All right, so we'll get started here. Let me make sure. All right, so I'm getting a bunch of thumbs up. All of you guys, make sure we share this with friends, share this with people around you, so we can get as many people as possible to tune in for our bank statement. Today we talk about everything. We're talking gold, we're talking Bitcoin, we're talking the AI bubble, or meme coin versus utilities. We're talking banks, obviously, and what we're doing with on-chain TV and all that kind of stuff. So there's so many things, and we have a special $50 USDC giveaway that we're going to give to two special winners are going to get $25 each. So you definitely want to make sure that you participate, and we can't always do this ourselves. So I want to thank all of you guys, the Banks family. I see some mask in the audience. So thank you guys for tuning in as well. So those of you guys who are part of our Banks family. So we're super excited to have you on there. All right, I'm gonna get started here. One of the things that I wanted to make sure I was talking to Mr. Banks about this is that we always have a disclaimer. The reason why we do the disclaimer is because it's important for you guys to understand really our intent and our heart. The best way to do is this: the bank statement show really it's intended to share like general information for education and discussion purposes only. Nothing you hear here is meant to be any financial, legal, tax, or investment advice. So, guys, please you make sure you do your own research, assess the risk, consult with a qualified professional before you make any investment decisions. Um, Also understand by watching or listening to us, you agree that we are not responsible for any losses or action that you may take based on the content of this show. All right, so let's jump in. Hold on, my co-host is still not coming in. Let me make sure I'm gonna ask the team. Let's make sure we can get a hold of Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks, where are you? All right. So before we get started and Mr. Banks joins us, I think we're having some technical difficulties on his part right there. I had to unconnect and reconnect just to make sure everything was cool. What I'm going to do is, guys, I am going to jump in. So today we have different type of topics, and I want Mr. Banks to come back because I think a lot of what I want to discuss also has to deal with him. But let's get started first. Like I said, there's different topics I want to talk about. I want to start something light. Let's start with something light. Earlier this year, I don't know if those of you guys remember, there was something that went viral on Twitter, and then it kind of spilled over to other social media. And it was essentially this kind of question that I thought was really interesting. And I want to pause this question to you guys, right? So essentially, what the post said was, if $2 million, right, just mysteriously appeared in your account, like there was a $2 million wire that came in into your account overnight, what would you do the next day? Would you quit your job the next day? Would you put in your resignation letter the next day and be like, I'm out of here, right? Because you received the 2 million? Or would you be suspicious of the $2 million that comes into your account? What would you guys do? I'm very curious to kind of hear from all of you guys. $2 million drops into your account. Do you quit your job the next day? Um, I was I was having a conversation with Mr. Banks before we jump. I'm like, I don't know what I would do, right? I don't know what you guys do. Let me know in the comment section. Share this with other people. What would you guys have done? $2 million just mysteriously appears into your bank account. Do you quit the next day? Do you quit the next day? So this is it's an interesting question that I'm curious to kind of hear from some of you guys. Mr. Banks, can you hear me? Because I'll be curious to hear your opinion also on the $2 million mysterious wire that falls into your account. There were so many responses. I looked at the post again. There was so many. I mean, people were like, "Hey, I'm sending my resignation right away." What would you do? Would you buy a house, buy a car, pay off all your debt, or would you just like do nothing and just wait until that account gets taken over again? 2 months until the end of 2025, right? And I was thinking about the year as the year is ending. And I wanted to know, for those of you guys, what would you say, right? Especially like as a company, one thing that we do near the end of the year, um, we always are trying to figure out, like, okay, do an analysis of the year in terms of expenses, preparing for 2026. And there was a question that came to my mind was, what's the dumbest thing that you've spent money on in 2025? What is the dumbest thing that you've spent money on in 2025? What is that one thing you're like, what was I thinking buying this thing, right? Whether that was a token, whether that was a straight rug pull, or just something stupid that you ended up like, okay, you know what? Definitely shouldn't have spent the money there. I'm curious for you guys to kind of let me know. You can let us know in the comment section, what is you think is the dumbest thing that you've spent money on this particular year. Well, I was thinking about one of the dumbest thing that I did on my part. So one of the things that I thought was relatively kind of done, I was trying to do this particular year. My wife and I were trying to, just trying to do better in terms of the house, in terms of like spending money, and just got to be more wise. Even if you feel like, okay, where you're making more money, you want to be just wise in terms of like, okay, things that you need to be able to use. So what we ended up happening is, because I had to do a lot of traveling this year, I would, for those of you guys who travel on an airplane, you see like the little cushion that you buy for your neck, right? uh I don't know why. Every time, like, I feel like I need to travel, I always want to buy one of those, but I always forget that I have like two or three at home, right? So I ended up forgetting to buy one of those neck thing in a couple of the travels that I was going to, and especially if it's a long flight, like you have a 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. Sometime I even took a flight to Europe sometime this year, and it was like a 8 hour flight. So usually, whenever you do something like that, and you want to be able to put the little neck cushion. I don't know if there's a name for it. I'm not sure, but um, I ended up always. You always feel like you're getting screwed buying it at the airport, because it's like 5 times the price that you would get it at the regular store, and it even feels worse when you already have so many at home because you just forgot to get it. So this year, I ended up buying three of them, three different flights. So those what, like, one of the dumbest decisions I really did this year. It was just like bad planning on my part of just like grabbing the one that I have at my house and just putting it in my bag or with my carry-on so I can be able to come. So that, I think, when I look back, I think I remember one of them. I bought it at the airport, and it was like almost $60 when you could get the same thing for like 20 some dollars or even less than that at the regular store. So ended up buying three of them this year, so that was really really bad on my part. So I don't know about you guys in terms of like really dumb decision. Obviously, I'm not gonna uh, talk about like some of the money we lost in like meme coins and launches and things like, oh, this is gonna go up for sure, and then it just doesn't pan out because that's I feel like that's part of the game that we play in coming into investment and especially going into like very high risk assets. But really, really interesting. So I want you guys to think about the as you ending the year. What is an expense that you would have done differently? What is something that you would have done with a different approach for 2025? So I want to jump into our topic for the day. One of the things that we thought it was interesting would be this idea of gold and Bitcoin, especially with the almost going on 2 weeks now. What happened the weekend going from the 10th to the 11th and the 12th, especially with the price of Bitcoin really falling. And ironically enough, what ended up happening there was that there was a surge in gold. So for those of you guys who've been maybe living under a rock, um, gold has surged to nearly 6% increase last week, right? So I think the price that it reached was, I want to say 4,378 per ounce of gold. I think it settled back down a little bit. I think $4,200 or around that price. So for those of you guys who do not know, that's an all-time high price for gold. So which is really interesting because a lot of investors are essentially using gold as a hedge, right? They're using gold as a reason for them to be able to go ahead and go ahead and be able to hedge against what's happening, whether it is economic um, issues that are happening or anything like that. They're using and they're leveraging gold as a way for them to be able to do that. So I'm really curious to hear from you guys as to your perception on that because I don't know about you guys. When I got started with crypto, everybody was essentially bringing up gold in the same line they were breaking up Bitcoin, right? They were saying essentially Bitcoin is the digital gold. It was supposed to be used as the hedge against inflation, the hedge against any economic downturn. Well, I don't know about you guys, but what happened a couple weekends ago, I think to me was really kind of eye opening, right? Because it begs to ask the question if, based on the tariff, the scare of the tariff news that Trump did on China and something, and he ended up backtracking on that. If crypto fell as hard as it did, but gold went to an all-time high, what does that say about something like Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin really the digital gold? Because it didn't seem to have the same resiliency against economic factors outside of it, the same way actual gold did. So I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think about that perspective in terms of gold? I'm looking at the chart right here in terms of performance comparison. Let's say 10 years, the past 10 years of gold versus the past 10 years of Bitcoin. Obviously, in terms of return, Bitcoin has been smoking gold. I mean, to give you guys an idea, 2015 price for an ounce of gold is $1,077, and 2025 prices are roughly around let's say 3,800, 3,900. Let's just say almost $4,000 in terms of gold. And then when you look at from a pricing standpoint for Bitcoin in the same time period, Bitcoin in 2015 was around $430, and the average price in 2025 is $108,000. So that's over 4,600% increase. So for those of you guys who like X's, Bitcoin has 470 X's in the same time period as gold has only tripled in price. So definitely Bitcoin is the better investment in terms of return for investors. But at the same time, it seems to me like a lot of investors are still looking at gold as probably a better hedge than they were looking at something like Bitcoin. So I don't know what you guys think. Why the specific would be in something like this? What would you guys say in terms of like, okay, should we be looking at buying more gold? Should we get a bunch of bullions of gold and stash it in the house versus, keeping all this Bitcoin in a ledger? The comparison when we look at gold versus Bitcoin, I think is something, especially for us, especially if you're you are within the crypto space, whether you're speculating or you're investing, whether you're trading short term or you're investing long term, this is something to at least look at, because when you look at institutional inflows of money that's coming into something more like gold, and central banks are buying more gold versus them investing into something more like Bitcoin, it does kind of bear the question, right? It makes us kind of wonder, how does that play into like the long term dynamic of these two assets, right? So I'm really curious to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Would you rather buy gold, right? Because it feels safe. You can have physical bullions of gold and keep it in your house. Versus, would you rather have Bitcoin in a wallet, right? And the sense of freedom, the sense of not being, uh, having people getting access to your money, right? What feels better? If you had to reset, if you had to start over, would you still rather buy gold today, or would you buy Bitcoin today? What would be the better investment? So I'm really curious to kind of hear a lot of you guys. What do you guys think in terms of your approach? What would be the better in terms of an investment there? So me personally, I still think that, because again, maybe being a millennial and being into the crypto space for as long as I have, I'm all Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to outperform. It's going to continue to outperform gold in the long term. I think there's going to be a higher, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Institutionalization of Bitcoin. There's going to be more banks and more bigger institutions that are going to pour and acquire more Bitcoin, which is going to stabilize the price of Bitcoin over time. But I think Bitcoin is also going to experience less and less the drastic drops of the 60%, 70% we've seen in the past cycles. I think that's going to stabilize over time. Michael Saylor is famously known for saying that he thinks that Bitcoin is going to go to $10 million Bitcoin. So if you believe that, if you think that's important, I think it's important for anybody in crypto to be able to be long Bitcoin. I'm not saying that you should be shorting gold. I think it's important to also diversify your investment, maybe in acquiring some gold. But I think being long Bitcoin, I think makes sense. There's just a higher return in terms of value over time. In the same past 10 years, Bitcoin has completely outperformed gold during that same time. But it's really interesting to see, right? Really interesting for us to kind of keep an eye on that to see, okay, why are institution and central banks still pro gold more than they are, maybe due to the volatility of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So there's a lot of things that could be said about something like what's happening with gold, specifically versus Bitcoin. So something for us to keep in mind as well. So I'm curious to kind of hear from you guys. What do you guys think about something like that? Mr. Banks, I don't know if can you did you fix your mic? Do you want to say something
Can
about
I be
that?
heard? Can I be heard?
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
I
I
can't
hear you now.
believe it. Yeah, I had to call Elon real quick, man. But he got it worked out for me, bro.
Uh, Thank you, Elon, getting Mr.
Thank
Banks
you,
on
Elon.
here.
Thank you, Elon.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable.
Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear Mr. Banks? If you can, give us a thumbs up. We finally got Elon to unblock his account, and so that they can hear you. Oh, I see a couple thumbs up. Okay, so I think they can hear you. I think they can hear you.
All right,
Okay.
good. Let's go. Great job. Great job without me, Bongo. Thank you. Thank you.
I had to hold the floor.
You did it. You
But
did a great job.
what do you think? What do you think in terms of like this discussion on gold versus Bitcoin, right? I was bringing up some of the stats, kind of a long-term approach, how gold tends to be more stable, and seems like the banks and the central banks love it. But I mean, Bitcoin in the past 10 years has done a 470x, where gold during the same time has only tripled in price. But seems like the big boys, the guys with the bigger pockets, seems to love gold more than Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm not a big gold person, other than maybe a nice gold watch or
Right.
gold on my body, right? But I believe it all depends on the amount of money also that we're looking at investing in, right? Because we're all at
Right.
different levels of investing, and as you know what we do, right? We invest in real estate, crypto. We got
Right.
several different vehicles,
Right.
asset classes that we invest in. But for me, I got to be honest. I don't own any physical gold other than stuff that I can flash. and go out trying to look sharp. So now, as far as, to me too, right? Like a lot of people think of gold, gold is where are you putting it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You're gonna put it in your vault at home, you know,
That's true.
or I mean, now if you're ordering, if you're buying, an ounce, I guess you could keep it in your drawer, right? But you're really going to keep your um, gold in a drawer, in your closet, or
You're not keeping 5 grand worth of gold in a drawer
yeah.
in
I
your
mean,
bedroom.
we don't leave our treasure, we don't leave all our ledgers and stuff sitting in just sitting out on our desk, right? We keep
Right.
them vaulted up,
Right.
and so I think you do the same with your actual physical gold.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. And it really pretty, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, right? And I think it's going to be curious for a lot of you guys who are looking at, diversifying your portfolio to see, which way would you go. Um, I want to go to the second thing, right? If we're kind of talking crypto and also like mainstream finance, Wall Street. I don't know about you, but many analysts have been talking about like the AI bubble. By the way, I just wanted to share this with you guys. So a lot of people when it comes to like AI. If you haven't been using AI, I think you're missing the boat on a lot of things. Not just ChatGPT, but so many other AI tools that artificial intelligence and has changed things. I saw this stat that was really interesting. 700 million users, right? So this is the barometer of 700 million users. This is the statistics to show how quick each different like tools reach 700 million users. So check this out, guys. Did you know that it took YouTube, right, close to 9 years to reach 700 million users or customers? YouTube. It took Facebook roughly 8 years, so a little bit under that, to reach the 700 million user mark. It took Instagram about 6.5 years in order to reach the same thing. And I looked up, TikTok did it in 4 years. TikTok came in, and in 4 years, TikTok reached 700 million users. What about ChatGPT? Well, ChatGPT reached 700 million users under 2 years. Under 2 years. So what it
Incredible.
took YouTube and Facebook almost a decade to do, ChatGPT did it in almost 2 years. So it is undeniable that like AI is disruptive by nature, right? Well, that being said, a lot of analysts are saying, are we maybe experiencing or are we on the precursor of maybe an AI bubble, right? What do you think about that, right? Because they're saying, okay, everybody, this company is worth billions of dollars. The other companies were billions of dollars, right? Like, is the market maybe overvalued? Do you think? And maybe we'll transition also like AI and crypto, but just AI in general, right? When you look at like Nvidia and some of the other companies who are in the AI sector, do you think that maybe we're in pre-bubble territory, like maybe 1990 dot-com bubble kind of stuff? Mr.
Can you
Banks,
hear
can you
me?
hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
no, no,
here.
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I was saying that. What do you think? Are we maybe pre-bubble in terms of the valuations of all these companies?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably hitting, probably a peak at some of these traditional companies, right? Hitting a peak as far as value. I think they're definitely overvalued at this point. But from a traditional market speaking,
Hmm.
for sure, without a doubt. What do
Hmm.
you think? What
Hmm.
do you think, Mongo? I know you read. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think the majority of the companies like who are not among some of the bigger companies might be overvalued. Like you hear of some of these random companies that you've never heard about that just have like something to do with AI and they're like worth $2 billion or $3 billion or $20 billion. And you're like, what? What does this company actually do? Right. And
Right.
I think just because somebody is in like there's so many commercials you see on TV or online about this company AI, this thing, other AI, this AI thing, this, and I'm always kind of like, when I see that, I wonder if a lot of them are just using that because it's trendy, right? Because it's part of that, and because investors want to, many investors who might have missed like OpenAI and Nvidia, they want to catch any other company that can maybe give them the same type of return. It's almost like if you've missed Shiba Inu or Pepe or Dogecoin, or you know what I mean, you're like, you want to grab the other potential next frog or whatever, right? If you might have missed banks when we were sub 50K, and you're like, okay, I want to make sure I catch it, which by the way, I still believe that we have so much more upside. But I think that might be the reason why a lot of companies just use AI in their portfolio somehow to maybe be overvalued. I don't think that they are as good as some of the bigger ones. Um, that's what I think. What do you think in terms of like AI and crypto? Because that's the other thing too that I'm curious to kind of talk about, especially for you guys in the community. Let us know, guys, what you think. Like, I remember there was a time where I dabbled in many like AI projects within crypto, right? There was several AI projects that were on Solana, some few on the base ecosystem. There were a couple that were on, like I saw some on Sui, some on different other chains, and a lot of them, to be honest, I'm like, is it really AI, or is it just like they're having like, chat GPT kind of stuff, right? Like, I don't want to call any names of some of these projects, but to me, I almost felt like, is this too early to really call it crypto, like crypto AI kind of stuff? Or is it just mainly like they were doing essentially the same thing? Like, there's no genuinely blockchain native company that can compete on the AI sector. Right, at least that's what I think. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I know we've had this conversation a little bit, in the past about AI and crypto and what's being built on the blockchain as well. But
Mhm,
I mean, the reality is, right, like how much of it is actually being used or being confused with actually artificial intelligence, right?
mhm.
AI, and how much of that is actually automation, right? Or
Ah, good point.
being just being, like simply being coded, right? Like I'm not taking
Right,
away. We've got some good friends, right? That's in the AI sector that they're developing, but we have to really look at what the big boys are doing mainstream, right? And
mhm,
developing, and then from us from a crypto perspective, is it AI or is it just something that's dressed up to be a little more is easier, looks cool, it does stuff without us having to manually do something, like that's you and I being in in the tech field a little bit with developing stuff in the past and web 2 world,
right,
we know automation and we know that some of that stuff is incredible, almost feels like there's a robot behind some of the stuff we do,
right,
and we've been doing it for years, but it's not, right? It's
right,
just
right.
automation. It's just what's the technical word for some of that stuff that we're built, that we wireframe out,
Yeah,
right?
you have
And your
workflows and campaigns. Yeah, yeah,
workflow,
exactly.
right,
Right,
right.
right, right,
You somebody calls us, it does 20 things and no one knows, what it's doing, or they text
right.
us, or they so so that's my take on it. I think that it's in the crypto space, I think we have a long way to go. And
Mm,
there's some good stuff being built, but we just gotta be mindful of do your own research, right? When it comes
right,
to investing in any project, but the AI sector, just don't jump in it for the hype. And I think also if I remember correctly from our talk sheet, we're going to talk about RWA maybe, right?
right,
Because I'm
right.
excited to talk about that.
Right. Right. Now we'll talk about RWA. Before we get there, I do find it interesting though, and guys, I don't know. Let us know in the comment section what do you guys think. But like, I personally feel that a lot of crypto projects have a hard time really being completely in AI. And when I say AI, I'm talking about like large language models, like competing with companies like Lambda with Facebook, or Anthropic with Amazon, and Nvidia and OpenAI and all those things. Obviously Nvidia is different, they make chips, but like OpenAI were like large language models, LLMs. I think some of it is difficult simply because of the money, right? Like, you hear of all these big investment that are made in AI sector, right? Like, when you look at the capex, right, the capital expenditure, the sum of the big investors are doing in these companies. I mean, you hear OpenAI, Anthropic, and XAI with what Elon is doing with Gronk and all the others. They're spending billion in infrastructure. Can a crypto native project really spend $1 billion to build a large language model? Like, I don't see one. Like, most of these crypto projects, they're just trying to get to $1 billion market cap. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't see like who is investing $20 billion in any crypto AI project.
Yeah, not happening.
You know what I mean? Like, and by the way, I'm not saying this to
Sorry to disappoint.
right, like I'm not saying to
Yeah,
just like I'm not saying this to bring down anybody who is in a crypto native area trying to accomplish it, because all I'm saying is I understand why it's difficult. I understand why like it really would take more money than a lot of people care. And the people within the crypto space who are trying to do that, let's look at even the technology, right? Like when we're saying crypto, or we're saying like let's not even call it crypto. Let's call like some of our good friends like Deep Network and some of the other deep end type project. When we're calling AI, for AI to work, you need servers, you need compute, you need all that kind of stuff. So for that to work, you need companies who are specializing in like what decentralized compute. You need a lot of power in order to do that. I mean, Microsoft is buying Three Mile Island in Pennsylvania. By the way, for those of you guys who do not know, Three Mile Island in Pennsylvania used to be a nuclear power plant. I used to live in that area for some time when I went to school, and that area, that old like nuclear power plant was shut down. But essentially, earlier this year, end of last year, earlier this year, Microsoft put a bid to buy that nuclear power plant to generate enough energy to power the servers that power OpenAI. Think about that. They're not paying that with $10 million. You're not buying
yeah,
a nuclear power plant with $10 million. Just the electricity cost to run something like ChatGPT and OpenAI and some of the servers behind it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to belittle the point. I think we understand it. All I'm just saying is I find it really interesting when I hear all these projects talking about like, crypto AI, and I'm like, really? I don't know. Like, I mean, I like that you have ChatGPT incorporated, or you have like, Google Nano or something like that. You can make great pictures, right? But I don't know if this is like truly AI by itself. So I don't know. Oh, by the way, I did invest into couple crypto AI project. I want to say 80% of them are worth nothing now, but that's invest at your own risk, right? um,
yeah.
s-
Well,
so
look, I got to be honest with you. I think I told you. I know you've been using Chat GPT and AI and some stuff for a lot longer than I have, but I used it over the weekend, and
right,
I'm not gonna lie. You know, it was able to do some things for me just from Chat GPT. I actually used Chat GPT and DeepSeek,
right,
and the where I did find a lot of value in what it was doing is it's just like you said, the large language model, right?
right,
The way it was able to give you that information in literally 15 seconds,
right,
right? And like just pages upon pages of data and formatting and doing some stuff for our year end,
right,
analysis and stuff. But
right.
just incredible, right? And just to touch on what you were talking about, 3 Mile Island, I just actually pulled it up, and I know you probably already know this, but it was the sale price was actually just for the property, $100 million, $100 million, right? That's not
Cardio
counting
mill.
tearing in all the demo, estimated to go into the billions just to get the site prepared. So just to get before you do anything, yeah.
Come on,
So
invest 100 million in the banks. Right? Invest a
yeah,
hundred million in
come
the bank.
on.
We're going to the moon. Oh man, I don't know about you guys, but I find this really interesting, right? I think it brings up the
Can we just get like a half mile island for banks?
half
Let's do a
mile
half island.
divided by six, man. Let's just give us a cool,
Let's go.
15 mil. Oh man. But I think this is really interesting. And I think it brings up the question of like, okay, I think there are going to be some success stories within the crypto native space that are going to do well in AI. I just don't think they're going to do that being undercapitalized. I think they need more funding. I think it needs to be like maybe some of the bigger players will come into it and do it, maybe. And I think that that kind of, piggyback to kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Before we do that, before we talk about RWA, for those of you guys who do not know, so RWA essentially means our world word assets. So before we kind of talk about like real world assets, right? Where this is where you take things in the real life and you tokenize them, or you use some kind of like fractionalized sharing. When it comes to that, I do have something fun that I want to ask you, Mr. Banks. Right? I wanted to know, if you had your choice, right? Would you rather? Right? Let's do a financial edition of Would You Rather. You guys can also play. Let us know in the comment section as well. What would you guys would take? Would you rather get one Bitcoin today or receive $1,000 a week for the rest of your life?
Wow. One Bitcoin today or $1,000.
A week for the rest of your life.
Oh, I'll take the Bitcoin. I absolutely take the Bitcoin.
You're taking the
In fact,
Bitcoin.
let me go ahead and send you the wallet I want you to send it to.
You're taking the Bitcoin today. So what do you guys?
Well, remember how old I am, Bongo. Remember how old I am. So I'm
That's
gonna
true. You're like,
I'm gonna go
listen,
ahead.
I was gonna go ahead and go and hold myself a good Bitcoin right now. So I'm curious, guys, what would you guys have done, right? I want to see this, right? We'll take a poll. If you guys will go ahead and take the Bitcoin, I want you guys to go ahead and the put the thumbs up emoji if you're doing the Bitcoin, and put the let's say put the 100 if you're going to be doing put the 100 if you're going to be doing the $1,000 a week for the rest of your life. If you're doing Bitcoin, give me a thumbs up. If you're doing the $1,000, put the 100 sign, so that I know what you guys would take. I see a bunch of thumbs up, so people are saying they're taking the Bitcoin. Bunch of Bitcoin maxis here. Oh, okay. Somebody said, I see Rich, our good friend Rich. He's saying I'm thinking $1,000 a week for the rest of my life. Forget Bitcoin, man. He said, who knows?
Rich is
Block
like 19 years old though. He's like 19 years old. Rich is 19.
Rich is like 19 years old. You got time.
Yeah,
You got time.
I'd take $1,000 too if I was 19.
Right. I see a bunch of thumbs up. People are like, "Yo, we're taking the Bitcoin. Give me the Bitcoin, digital gold." So I'd be curious to see Bobar, million bits. What would you guys do? Right? Thumbs up for the Bitcoin, or you're doing the 100 if you're taking $1,000 a week. Yeah, I see. I think the majority. Oh, I see a couple. I see a couple 100. People are like, yo, I'm taking $1,000 a week. Okay, cool, cool. I see a couple sad faces. I mean, I don't know. Did you lose money, or I'm not sure what happened there. But cool, awesome, man. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for participating. So I think majority of people are probably taking the Bitcoin. So
Well,
interesting, interesting.
you kind of set that question up good. Michael Saylor's right, and it goes to millions of dollars, right? So yeah, definitely take the Bitcoin.
Right. You
Right? He
got to
sets it
take the
up.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was already thinking, I'm like, if Mike was right, because by the way, I think you can find it online. He said he believes Bitcoin can get to $10 million in the next. He said by 2049. So 2049, that's like what, 20 years from now, almost, give or take. So again, like you said, it depends on if you're going to be around 20 years from now. But he believes 20 years from now, it could be at 10 million for one Bitcoin. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. It could be faster than that, actually. But we'll see. We'll see. So let's talk about RWA, or real world assets. So what I find interesting is, right, are we into the era of real world assets or real Wall Street assets, right? The reason I asked that question is because when you look at companies like BlackRock or Franklin Templeton or JP Morgan, they're entering the RWA scene, and kind of taking over a lot of that, what's happening there. So I'm curious to kind of hear from your perspective. By the way, for those of you guys who do not know what RW stand for, real world assets is like you take things in the real world and you tokenize them so that they can be accessible in Web3, right, or the blockchain. So there's multiple ways why that's beneficial. It could give fractional ownership. Like for example, let's say you took a house. Right now, if somebody wanted to buy a house, or someone to have an owner, you only have a single owner or a single entity that owns a house. But let's say that house gets on the blockchain, and now you can buy fractions of the house. So now you can have multiple owners who are all of them owners of a particular house. You don't have to go through like LLCs and entities. The same thing also with art, right? The same thing like NFT, for example. You could take real art like the Mona Lisa, Picasso's paintings, all that kind of stuff, and you can digitize them. And now you can have multiple owners who are buying portions of the total value of the art. It doesn't mean that they're getting little bits, parts of the art. They're just their ownership portion. They can now buy portions of that. So when you're looking at that, right, fractional ownership, real world assets, I mean, there's many other scenarios where you can do that. um I think that was, to me, what I thought was going to be like one of the bigger segment or sectors of crypto. I thought it was going to be in 2025, but unfortunately it didn't pan out to be that way. But it seems to be recently there's been a big move, but now it's not what we thought. It's not like a bunch of crypto people coming in and saying, "Hey, we want to go real world asset," but it's more like traditional finance who are coming and putting their foot into crypto by kind of taking over the RWA sector, right? So, Mr. Banks, I don't know about you. I know you've done a lot of research on this. You've kind of dig deep into this. When you look at a company like BlackRock or JP Morgan and some of the others who are coming in, how does that make you feel into? We're all used to be like anti-institution, and now it seems like RWA is only ran by institution.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So look, yeah, I'm big. I'm a big support, huge supporter of tokenization, right? Asset tokenization. I believe that's
Right.
definitely, we're going to see it among virtually everything, right? Right down to,
Hmm.
uh, some of my sports card collections that I have and some different things. I think we'll see tokenization across the board, but where I think it gets kind of muddied, right? That we miss in crypto is that there's so many, you got to follow the money, right? And there's so many
Right.
huge Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, and we forget what we're talking about, right? We say crypto, but what we're talking about blockchain.
Right.
And there's companies that are building on the blockchain, on the rails of Ethereum, on the rails of other main projects that are building on blockchain to tokenize without a token. There's no
Right.
token involved,
Right.
right? Now, what I mean by that, there's no native token, right? They're the only token that they're tokenizing an asset, right? That's built
Right.
on Ethereum rails. So, you can't, all the hype, and one that just comes to mind, right? And if you hold this one, I'm not flooding your bag, okay? But Ondo, right? Ondo
Oh yeah, Ondo. Yep.
is, yeah, huge project, wanting to tokenize the world. But there's a dozen projects out here, a dozen companies, right? Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies that are already tokenized billions with a B, um, of assets that has no token for you and I to go invest in.
Hmm.
So that's where we just got to be careful, right? As investors in crypto, that we don't get lost in really looking at the blockchain,
Right.
because we can't just, I know a lot of us here, right? We want to enter a trade, get out of a trade. You and I know we're more investors than we are traders, but
Right.
I just to me, RWA, like so many other asset, or different classes that we talk about, in crypto, right? From AI to memes to, including RWA. Just gotta be careful, right? Because I believe, and I've said this a lot, and I've gotten some feedback that meme coins are the new altcoin. And as we
Mm.
continue to do these bank statements and stuff that we're going to do, I'm gonna prove to you guys, everyone, to the community and everybody, that you'll understand more and more why I say that, and the value of that. I believe it's going to be something that you're going to start hearing more and more people with larger influence actually say what I'm telling you, that meme coins are the new altcoins, and for
Mm.
these exact reasons of you have corporations building on Ethereum rails and tokenizing assets or creating utility without a token. And with a meme
Mm,
coin, now does that mean that meme coins, all have to have utility? No, but you're going to see, and we already see it, right, with what we're doing with on-chain TV and
mhm,
the bank family that we're releasing soon. But we're so yes, you're going to have meme coins. And I see Bobar on here, right? They're incredible utility that they're building. I think Ziggy already jumped off, but they got Ziggy World, right? So yes, you're gonna have meme coins with utility, which is essentially an altcoin, right? If it's
mhm.
meme with utility, then it means it's more of an alt. There's a function to it, right? So,
Right.
but I went a little deeper on that side than the question you asked me about RWA. But hopefully you get my point, right? As far as RWAs
Right.
go.
It's funny. I saw this quote that someone said, "We wanted DeFi summer. They give us Wall Street winter."
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
one thing that's really interesting though that you mentioned is this narrative of, are meme coins really the new altcoin, right? And I want you to go deeper into that, right? What do you mean when someone says, "Okay, meme coin are the new altcoins"? Like, first of all, like I think when most people think of altcoin, they're thinking like utility token or a token that does something like that. But you're saying essentially, hey, the meme token, or what you're. I want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. You're saying that there are tokens that are based on a movement or an idea or a sense of like a community or something funny that just have mean tokenomics, but they have other functionality. Because I feel like banks, if for those of you who do not know, go check out Rob Banks. It's the project that with our team that we've launched. We have a team, a large team all over the world of people who are working every day all day. We have big aspiration where we want to take banks, but really, I think a lot of the time when people look at what we're trying to do with on-chain TV, which is essentially we're trying to create a curated experience on finance, crypto, and financial education. So we want you guys to come in. We're focused on bringing educators and builders and learning financial literacy. The bank statement is part of our approach to in order to accomplish really our goal. Um, Many people would say, okay, well, what you guys doing at Rob Banks is really not mean. Like it's like you guys just have mean tokenomics, but you're really trying to build real things. Like you have really like trying to put a utility and aspect of it. I want to make sure that what I'm understanding you say is like a lot of these meme coins, like they need to have like real utility functionality behind it, even if just their tokenomics is what is considered meme-ish.
Yeah,
Does that
exactly.
make
That's
sense?
exactly. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So just to go just a little bit further on that, right? So many things that we hear about when we look at, and I'm not going to list or FUD any projects, right? So I'm going to say it without calling projects out.
Hmm.
But a lot of altcoins, right? Let's just talk altcoins for a second. A lot
Hmm.
of altcoins, right, are doing something, but they've done nothing. Now
Okay.
let that sink in, right? They're built on hype, they're built on speculation, they're built on stuff that
Promises.
90% of the altcoins out here don't need a token for that to operate, but they have to have a token because they're undercapitalized.
Right. To raise
So
capital.
yeah, to raise capital, right? So that's really what I'm talking about here is not necessarily that. And so if you take a meme coin, everyone can relate to a meme coin. Man, I mean, I know, we love base and we're built on, banks is built on base, but there's just some great meme coins that quality meme coin you can just get behind. Like I'm looking at Bobar, he's top of my screen here, right? I love the dev Shiloh behind Bobar, and they just relaunched and on V3 now. But I
Big
can
shout
I
out
can
to
actually
Bobar.
support that. I can support that cute little picture, right? Like I just love I can get behind the beaver, right?
Right.
And some of the different art. But I'm really, when I'm looking at a meme coin today, I want someone to buy into to the bank's movement, right? To what we believe in. You know,
Right.
where that's I want like to buy in, and if there's utility behind it, then that's even better. But it doesn't have to be, right? It doesn't have to have utility. It can just be a cute picture. so when I say that that meme coins are the new altcoin, yes, tokenomics, there's no, it's fully diluted, right? You don't have to worry about other tokens being thrown in and diluting your value. You wake
Right.
up one morning and they've released another, 100 million tokens on you, and now it's worth, half of what it was when you went to bed. So that's what I mean by that. Is just, we get so locked up into the what we're going to do, because I know, like, even for us, right, and I think this also kind of hurts banks and to a certain extent, because we don't put out a public roadmap. you know a public roadmap is a hype map, right?
Right.
It's just speculating, and then it can be, if we don't hit it, or you start getting fudded. I mean, look, if our community knew exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it in our roadmap, in our internal roadmap, we'd probably be at $2 million, 3 million, $4 million right now.
Hmm.
That's the reality of it,
Hmm.
but we've just taken the decision, we've made the decision internally to not go down the hype trail, right? And
Just
just
execute. Just
grind
do
it
the
out
work.
day.
Right.
Just do the work.
Right.
Just do the work, and I think it's definitely not the easier way, Bongo. It's
Right.
definitely not easy, and
Right.
I gotta commend us for and the team. I see some of the team on here, for all the hard work that we do day in and day out, regardless of our market cap. But yeah, I mean, so this is something that we're going to continue to talk about, as far as, because I promise you, community and everyone on this call, and who's listening to it, on a recording, when I say, remember, you heard it from Mr. Banks, meme coins are the new altcoin, right? And
Mm.
just think about that. And when you do your investing, does this token really, does this project really need a token? Ask yourself that. Is there a flywheel? Is there an actual built-in ecosystem flywheel through the process? Like, these are the
Right.
things that, like, for real investing, not for trade. If you're just going to swing trade, right, that's a different story. Go be a trader, and that's fine, right? But if you're really looking at some hard investments, some good investments, look, you got to look at the overall project and what they're doing and what have they done and how long they've been trying to do it. We're
Right.
coming up on our birthday. We're going to be turning 1 year old, um, November 9th. So it's right around less than
We're
30
still a
days.
baby.
We're a baby, man. We're a
we're just
baby.
we're just getting started, and it's really, I think, to what you're saying, it's commendable what we've done in the year, what we've been
Yeah,
able
it
to
is.
reach,
I love it.
from an all-time high. We're tracing period. I think we're going to be also picking up momentum as well. um as we're coming to an end, I wanted to do this, right? For those of you guys, thank you for those of you guys who are tuning in. I see Strong that came in there. Good to see you, brother.
What's up,
Um,
strong?
I see a bunch of people who came in. I see T Devs. I see Vine. I see Kunade. I see Comfy, Joash, Plural, um, Abija. Big shout out to all of you guys. I see Jigs, Corolo, Celine G. Big shout out to all of you guys who are tuning in. There's too many people there. I'm not gonna name everybody, but a big shout out to all of you guys who are coming in. Make sure you share. Make sure someone else also be able to kind of hear everything we've been talking about. We're about to end, and I wanted to do a lightning round, right? Quick take. So I'm gonna ask you, Mr. Banks, right?
Oh,
So
okay. You got a lot of games for me today. I like
I
it. I
know I
like it.
do. I want to be asking you, right, to tell me whether you're going to be buying, hold, or sell, right? You're gonna have to. I'm gonna pick
Oh,
random assets, okay? And
okay.
I'm gonna ask you whether you're gonna
I need
buy.
a buzzer. I need a buzzer. I want to ring a buzzer. All right, but go ahead. Go ahead.
You're gonna buy, hold, or sell. All right, let me see if I can get everybody to join in as well. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, guys. If you're gonna be buying this, right, you're gonna give me a thumbs up. If you're gonna hold, you're gonna give me a fist up. And if you're going to sell, you're gonna give me a thumbs down, right? So if you're gonna buy, you're gonna give me a thumbs up. If you're gonna hold, you give me a fist up. And if you're going to sell, you're gonna give me a thumbs down, right? I hope everybody understood. We're gonna all play it together. So I have different assets, and I'm gonna be asking you what you're gonna do. So these assets range from crypto to stocks to even some of the things we talked about, like gold and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, are you buying, hold, or selling?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, I want you to answer.
Okay. I am actually not buying Bitcoin right now. I have all the Bitcoin I want. I'm a happy hodler of Bitcoin. So I'm not actually buying any more Bitcoin.
So you're gonna hold.
I'm holding, yes.
Okay, you're gonna hold. Okay, got you. Right. So guys, remember, if you're buying,
I'm
thumbs up.
also
If
not
you're
selling Bit.
holding,
I'm also not selling my Bitcoin. So I'm just in the hold position.
yeah, don't make the mistake of selling Bitcoin. No. All right. What
No,
about what about Ethereum? Ethereum, are you buying, selling, buying, holding, or selling? Thumbs
I'm
up,
buying
fist
it.
up, or
I am
thumbs down?
buying Ethereum. Mr. Banks is buying Ethereum every day. Every day, Mr. Banks is buying Ethereum.
Buying Ethereum, indeed. What about this one? Zora, the Zora token on base. Are you
Woo!
buying? Are you buying Zora? Are you holding, or are you selling Zora?
I am buying Zora. I am buying Zora. I've been buying Zora since 4 cent, 5 cent. So I am buying Zora. We'll continue to buy Zora.
Buying
We
Zora.
got
I
to
see a
have a,
bunch of
when bank statements has to have a whole episode on Zora real soon, real soon.
right.
So,
We'll
you know,
discuss Zora. We'll go
yeah.
deeper into all the details on that on
Everyone, look at all
Zora.
these thumbs up. We're buying, everyone's buying Zora. That's what I'm talking
People are
about.
loving Zora. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
What about this one? What about this one?
Hey,
Um,
can I plug that banks actually have the creator coin on Zora?
we
Banks on
have a
base.
creator cron. Banks on
Yeah.
base.
Some
Go to
thumbs up.
Zora, guys, and check out Banks on base, and
Banks
you can
on
grab our
base.
creator token on Zora, right? So big shout out to our team and
Yes.
getting Banks on base on Zora. What about this one? Um, Solana. Are you buying, holding, or selling Solana?
I'm not even looking at Solana. I'm sorry. I'm
Yo.
sorry. I
Okay.
see some thumbs up. There's people buying Solana. I'm sorry. But no, Mr. Banks is not buying Solana. I
You're
know,
not
I
buying
know
Solana.
people
Okay, all right. So
love
some people
Solana,
thumbs
but
up,
I'm,
right?
I'm not.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, thumbs up if you're buying, fist up if you're holding, if thumbs down if you're selling, right? I see Comfy is thumbs down. She's selling Solana. She's like, I don't want to move
Good.
Solana.
Sell it,
All
baby.
right.
Sell it.
What about this, right? So we're gonna go into other assets. What about gold? Are you buying gold? Are you holding or are you selling gold?
Yeah, I'm not buying gold. Like I said, unless it's a watch. There's a couple watches I wouldn't mind, but I'm not buying any gold.
No
I want to
buying of
hold.
gold.
No physical gold. Other than maybe, you know, for Christmas, maybe you can buy me a nice new gold watch or
I
something.
got you. I got you. I'll put it
Yeah,
on the list. We'll ask Santa
on the
for
list.
a little
Yes,
gold.
yes.
How about this one? Let's go into the world of stocks. Are you buying Nvidia stocks? Nvidia stocks. Are you buying Nvidia stocks or are you holding or selling if you already have some?
Just Nvidia or
Just
stocks in
Nvidia.
general.
Just Nvidia. Nvidia specifically.
I'm not. Mr. Banks is not buying the video.
Not
That
buying
to me
Nvidia.
is no. It is the chip. No, it's going. Chip world is going to get more competitive. It's getting more competitive. So no, I'm not buying the video.
Okay, I got you. I see a couple hold, right? Some people already have Nvidia, right? So you're gonna
Yeah,
be holding. Okay,
yeah.
cool. I see a couple
Well, if
people
you bought at the
selling.
right time, the video. Yeah, if you bought at the right time, definitely holding the video for sure.
Got you. Rich is selling Nvidia. I see him thumbs up. Like Steve of
Rich.
God, he's like,
Yeah.
Comfy is like selling Nvidias too. I'm like, okay, cool. How about this one? Um, Amazon stock, right? With what happened yesterday with AWS, are we buying more Amazon stock, holding, or are we selling Amazon?
I'm not buying Amazon either. I'm
Okay,
anti. I love Amazon to order from. I'm not going to lie, right? Like
right,
I don't know if I shop anywhere other than Amazon. So,
right.
but I actually I'm not buying it, nor do I own any Amazon stock. Sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, Amazon. I see mixed emotion. People are saying holding. Some people are selling. I think people are upset from yesterday of what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, it was really interesting with the whole AWS outage. How about this one? Uh, U.S. Treasury bonds. U.S. Treasury bonds. For those of you guys who do not know, so the U.S. government issues Treasury bond. They're usually pretty stable. I feel like they were like the gold standards of our like grandparents or our parents. What do you think? Are you buying, holding, or selling U.S. Treasury bond? Whoever has it.
I, I'm not buying, nor do I hold any U.S. Treasury bond.
Okay. All right. No buying or U.S. Treasury bond. All right. Here's the last one. Right. Here's the last one, and I want to make sure you guys are answering this one correctly. The bank's token. Are you buying, holding, or selling the bank's token? Now I'm going to be looking at the audience now. Who's
Uh,
buying, holding, or selling the bank's token?
yeah, I'm definitely buying more Banks token. Sorry, we're definitely still buying the Banks token.
Still buying the bank's token. I see a bunch of fist
I'm
up
not sure what our
holding. I see
market cap
thumbs
is
up.
today, but yeah, I'm still buying. So
Still buying, man. ETH is like ETH is down, so you got a good price entry to be able to get some more banks token. You need to be buying banks right now, right? Because banks is the next moonshot. So we're super excited. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Mr. Banks,
hey,
we're gonna be
can I add just a short little commercial here, right? Everybody who's here, I know
hit us with the commercial. Yes.
short little clip here on chaintv.io. If you have not created
Yes.
your account, do me a favor, go to onchaintv.io. Just create your account. Guess what? It's 100% free, right? Do
Right.
us a favor if you're here.
Right.
And thank you for staying with a lot of us, a lot of you guys staying with us this full time. But you show great support. If you guys create any content, right, request a channel.
Exactly.
We've got some cool things. I know we're going to be talking and announcing, and some good upgrades with on chain TV that we're continuing to build out. And guys, the reason why I asked for that support, we actually from last week I asked the same thing. We had only one person, Bongo, one person that created a user account.
Man, come on. And
Can
it's
you
free,
believe it?
guys. Free
And it's free.
99. Free 90.
Yeah.
But you know
I
one thing
wonder if
I've
I tell them
listened.
if I would pay them. If I would pay them $1, if I paid you all y'all $1, would you go create an account? I don't know, maybe. But
That is not
look,
free anymore.
but Bongo, you know what? You know this. I don't even know why I'm
Right.
saying this to you. I'm saying to everybody else. But what we're building with on-chain TV is so hard, right? It's hard. And
Mhm.
the reason why I'm asking the audience just to create a free account, because it gives it a little bit of encouragement, right?
Right.
Look, remember YouTube, that video that I shared with you about the YouTube co-founders, right?
Exactly.
They were scratching their head almost 3 months in. They only had 40 videos uploaded to YouTube,
They were
and
discouraged. The guy's like, I'm depressed.
discouraged. Yeah.
Right.
Because when you're here building, and I know that some of the devs that are on here, I see, some of you guys that I know have developed and built in the past, man, it's hard to hard to stay encouraged sometimes. So again, if you love us, we would appreciate go create a user account over at
A
onchaintv.io.
hundred percent.
Show us a little love. And Bongo, I know you're going to close us out, but how are we going to give away this money? I know we're going to give
So
away $50, 225.
exactly.
Tell the audience to get that money.
So we're doing a giveaway. So we try to make sure we do a giveaway. For really all our episodes. And especially we'll have some maybe bigger ones when we bring some of the guests. So stay tuned. We have some exciting things next week that we're going to discuss also with you guys. Also, if you have topics, ideas that you want us to discuss, once we announce our next episode, just go in the comment section and we're like, hey guys, what about this one? We'll grab some of the topic from the comment section there. But if you want to be put into the entry to win this particular one of the two winners for the $25 USDC, make sure you go and like our pin post right now and retweet and share that pin post so people can be able to see this particular space. It gives them the ability to be able to know. We'll see. So make sure you comment and tag. You need to be tagging because we'll go and see everybody who liked, retweeted and tagged someone in the comment section. We'll grab your name. We'll put your name into the wheel and it will randomly pick someone and those two people will be the winners. We like the transparency of, clearly showing you the winners. It's not us picking people we like. Everything is done transparently. That's the way we like to do it here with banks. I just want to say this, at the end of every of our bank statement show, especially for every episode, I want to end with what we call our bank statement. So, by the way, we named the show bank statement because it's a play on the word, right? Raw banks is the name of our project. Bank statement, like the bank statement you would get at the bank. So at the end of every show, we want to have a statement, right? Something that we say, statement like a phrase or word that you say. So the statement for this episode for this week is the future of money is still up for grabs, but the smartest one are the ones paying attention. The
Ooh, that's
future,
good.
the future of money is still up for grabs, but the smartest ones are the ones paying attention. So make sure you pay attention to what we're doing here at Raw Banks. Make sure you're paying attention on what we're trying to build. And we can't wait to see you guys. All right. Can't wait to see you guys. And make sure you share, like, go and create a free account on Unchained TV. And we can't wait to catch you guys into the next space. All right, guys. See you. Bye.
Thank you guys. Love you guys. Goodbye.